Where did you get this moniker, the sea monster, from?
Well, it just dawned on me that it's promoted like a monster.
Yeah.
And because of that, everyone's scared of it. And then on top of it, the C is a double meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you think of the letter C,
Yeah.
but also SEA, right? C. So you think about the movie Jaws, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for the monster, which is a shark in this case. They go fishing for the monster. That's what they did at the last quarter of the movie. That's what the medical monopoly does. They're always fishing for the monster because the monster makes so much money.
Mm.
And so the people have been programmed to be scared of something. And because you're scared to get it, the narrative is you have to be checked over and over and over and over and over again. Hence, fishing for the monster. And so I break all this down in the Red Book, even down to the different types of sea monsters,
Mm-hmm.
and how it's typically over-tested. It is over-tested. And if it's over-tested, that means it's going to be over-diagnosed. And if it's over-diagnosed, it means it's going to be over-treated. It's 3 overs right there. But people don't want to hear this because they're so scared of it. Petrified of it.
Should people be scared? Well, they're just living, let's say someone's living a normal life, not on any protocols or anything like that. And it's like, how would they know? And it could be in their body, and like, what should they do about it? Like, if they don't know if they have the sea monster without testing, is it something they should be worried about?
It's all about symptoms.
Yeah.
It's all about symptoms. It's like, do you have symptoms? And that's the problem with the medical monopoly. They go fishing for it, and they don't care if you have symptoms. They're going to go fishing for it regardless.
Yeah.
It's mammograms, colonoscopies, prostate exams. It's just constant. So they're putting people in a state of fear. Somebody gets they pass the test, right? And they walk out to their car and they're like, all right, I don't got it. Oh, I got to get tested next year again. It's like, it makes no sense. If you understand what the sea monster really is, you'll know that it makes no sense. And what is it? It's free radical damage. Yeah. It's free radical damage that creates cellular mutations. So where do the free radicals come from? Well, it starts with the poor 4 foods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gluten, oils, fried and fake. Gluten, oil, fried and fake. Gluten, oil, fried and fake. And then there's the poor 4 toxins, right? Plastics, pesticides, metals, and mold. There's probably a few more too, but these are the things that come into our body and messes up our cells. But then your body is supposed to neutralize it. It's supposed to take care of it. It's just no different than a cold. It takes care of a cold.
So a healthy body can have a sea monster?
Yeah.
It just knows
kind
how to
of,
get rid
yes.
of it.
Yes. Somebody could have the sea monster right now and not know it. And will never know it because it'll go away in a few months.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what I just said is so controversial. Oh my gosh. Too bad the haters and debaters don't watch this show.
Yeah.
They refuse. They refuse to watch the show. They refuse to go to the website. They refuse to look at the testimonies. They refuse to watch the 10-minute videos. No, 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 no. They watch the 1-minute videos and they go crazy. They go nuts.
Why didn't you give us the protocol?
Yeah. 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 So, you know, that's what it is. It's free radicals entering the body, creating free radical damage, otherwise known as oxidative stress.
Mm-hmm.
2 names, same thing. And the cells mutate. Sometimes the sea monster gets out of control and grows. Sometimes it doesn't. But the medical monopoly, they don't care. Because to them, the sea monster is a sea monster. It doesn't matter what type of sea monster. It doesn't matter. They're going to either cut it out or nuke it with a bomb.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame.
So that's, in a lot of cases, I'm not going to say every case, but a lot of cases, it's an over-treatment process. I'll share a story with you because this just happened. One of my good friends contacted me, I want to say about 12 weeks ago. It's 3 months. He said, "Oh man, my best friend's got the sea monster. Yeah, it's a shame, Kev. You know, he's our age, he's 40, blah, blah, blah. What should I do?" I'm like, man, it's a whole lifestyle change. What do you mean, what should you do? I'm like, is it worth me telling you what to do? First of all, I'm not talking to the guy. I'm talking to the middleman.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, I'm like, is this guy even willing to change? Because most people aren't. Most people are so petrified that they just walk down the path that the medical monopoly pushes them down towards. Guess what he did? He walked down the path. So my buddy contacted me yesterday and said, "Hey, I'm driving to my friend's house today to say goodbye for the last time."
Wow. That quick.
Because this guy's going to die any day now. 12 weeks. And still, people continuously walk down this dark path. They continuously just listen to the white coats when the white coats have no clue. Because we've been brainwashed to believe them. Now, I lay all this out in my red book. The red book explains all this very clearly. But if you're practicing head to toe healing, you're protecting yourself. You're more than likely going to rescue yourself from something, and then you're going to protect yourself. Because, as I always say, healing is a process. It's a verb. So you constantly want to be healing. Another word for healing could be regenerating. So if you're practicing head to toe healing, and I'm practicing head to toe healing, and Karen's practicing head to toe healing, and our beautiful members are practicing head to toe healing, then your body is constantly regenerating. But if you're not practicing head to toe healing, you are now susceptible to the sea monster or heart disease or whatever other chronic thing that can happen. So you always want to be healing. Verb, healing. So I think we have Ryan Alexander here. Ryan, do you want to come on and join the conversation?
Hey, guys.
In your nutrition career, you've seen a lot of people come by with the sea monster. What do you think is the biggest thing that holds people up from trying to change?
I think the most difficult thing for people when they're first diagnosed is that they have so much information in both ears. They've got one, two, three, four doctors all telling them something, pushing them in one direction. They've got family members and friends. They've got a bunch of people from the internet like us giving them other information. And a lot of them kind of get stuck like the deer in the headlights, stuck in indecision. And unfortunately, a lot of them do just go the doctor route because that tends to be where more pressure is heading, right? Their doctors, their family, their friends, everyone's saying just listen to the doctor and do it. And that's what I think the biggest challenge is for them is the peer pressure, basically. Unless you're already a believer in what we're talking about here today, it's very unlikely that you're actually going to go down this route because, like you said, it's a lifestyle change. I like to put it as a 2-year commitment.
Yeah.
Even though I've seen several people, I talked to a woman last week, her husband was declared cancer free in like a month. He did a surgery on his tongue cancer. And they said, okay, you're cancer free. But she and him are smart. So they're actually going to continue going hardcore on nutrition and all kinds of other things for the next 2 years, even though he's been considered cancer free. A lot of people would just stop there, right? Oh, the tumor's not growing anymore, or the first sign that it's receding from whatever therapy they did. Okay, I'm good. I'm in the clear. But no, the lifestyle should be continued forever. And the hardcore going overboard on nutrition, going overboard on mindfulness and avoiding EMF. And there's a long, long list of things that you could do. That should be conducted for at least 2 years. It's a 2-year process to be in the clear. It's like when you swing the bat at the baseball, you keep swinging, right? You got to follow through. Or the golf club, you got to follow through. It's the same with anything that you're doing here. And it just takes a ton of commitment to do this in the first place. And it takes even more commitment to continue doing it.
Yeah. And most people don't want to, they don't want to go the natural route because the white coats scared the snot out of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a lady, I wrote about this in the Red Book just a few years ago. She was watching the live streams and watching the videos, and she was all about us, you know, and she's like, oh, Dr. Reese, I believe everything you say. This is amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then one day she got diagnosed with a tumor on her kidney. And she's like, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, well, you know, I mean, look at your analysis. I mean, this is out of alignment. This is, you know, this, you got this deficiency. Like it's right there in front of you. So, you know, you need head to toe healing, you know. She chose the medical route because she was scared. They scared her in. So this woman is no longer with us. She died in 5 months.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's like, and, you know, I don't want to minimize the decision because, I mean, what a decision someone has to make. I mean, it's just a bad situation to be in. But, you know, look at the statistics. Ask around. What are the rates? Do you even know the rates, Ryan? I know Dr. Glidden used to give the rates. Man, it's like, it's got to be 50-50 at least.
Like the success
people
rate.
making it 5-10 years after treatment.
Well, a lot of those numbers are really hard to trust as well. There's lots of fudging of numbers that go on, especially with the trials themselves. You know, the healthier people are put into the higher dose groups because they're more likely to survive. You know, people who don't tolerate the doses, whether it's high or low, are taken out of the trials because they can't tolerate it and they're not left in the data sets at the end. There's so much data manipulation that it's hard to tell. But what I can tell definitely from my years doing this is the few people that we get that are 100% not doing conventional, all of those tend to do a lot better. We get a lot of people who have already done chemo or radiation or both, or they do them both at the same time with nutrition and stuff, and the results are definitely not as good. Those aren't double-blind studies, obviously, it's just observation, but I know anyone who's doing the chemotherapy radiation route, it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder, and they should go even more hardcore on the nutrition and everything else. There's so many other alternative things that they could do. They should get the test, see if they got heavy metals in them. They should get their root canals pulled out and dental fillings pulled out and do chelation therapy if necessary. Mm-hmm. It's a long and expensive list as well.
Make sure there's no mold in your house. I mean, it's EMF, as you said, getting enough antioxidants, getting off the poor for foods. There's so much that they could be doing.
Ryan, I wanted to ask, basically, when you're dealing with someone that, comes in with this case, usually, do you feel like it's always the family that has the influence over the decisions of what the people are going through?
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Not always. We speak with a lot of older people. Of course, the older you get, the more likely the sea monster becomes. And quite a few of those people do live alone, or they're in charge of. Yeah,
Yeah.
still, even then, kids can come in, and brothers and sisters, and family is a huge, huge, huge part of it. It definitely is. And they have good intentions, right? We have to realize that. Your uncle or cousin or whoever, wife, loves you, and they want you to do the best, and all they know is the medical monopoly, right? That, like Dr. Reese says, that's all they've ever seen on TV. The heroes, emergency room, saving lives, trust the doctor. Your family's going to be pushing you to do that. I do think that's the primary, at least the most immediate pressure there. But then, of course, you've also same indoctrination that even when you know this stuff, even when you're on the alternative, or at least the imagination goes back to the emergency room. Right?
Yep.
It always goes back to the emergency room because that's what all we've ever seen is the heroics in the emergency room. And so even those of us on this side of the fence, I'm sure, have some level of faith in that white coat. And it can be tough to break that fully to the point where, you got diagnosed with cancer and you decide to walk away from them.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to walk away too. They'll call you.
No, one of my
Yeah.
buddies, he just went in. His wife gave birth, and she found a lump in her armpit area, and so naturally they went in for ultrasound, just to make sure, right? And they're like, "Yeah, come in for the ultrasound." And while they were there, like, "All right, let's do a mammogram." And he's like, "Whoa, you said nothing about a mammogram on the phone." And they're like, "Oh, well, we need to, take the ultrasound and the mammogram and we need to compare it and this, that, and the other." And he's like, "I don't know. I don't think mammograms are safe." And they're like, "Of course they're safe. We do them all the time." Blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Nah." So he refused. As an advocate for his wife, he refused. They went home. 2 days later, a package showed up at the door. They had to sign for it. And it was a letter, an official certified letter from the medical monopoly saying, "Please sign this so that you confirm that, you're walking out on your own will because we don't know what's in that lump," and this, that, and the other. Yeah, this is scary stuff. If you're not awake to what we're talking about, this is horrifying.
Yeah.
But what did people do 100 years ago? What, you know what I mean? What did they do 200 years ago, 300 years ago? The rates just weren't that high. The rates didn't jump through the roof until the testing jumped through the roof.
Yeah. I believe it was like 19 from the start of the 1900s to the 1930s. It was like a 90 or in between that, give or take 90% jump of like sea monster rates.
Yeah. It's like people are on me right now for my colonoscopy video that's floating around. They're leaving comments underneath. "This guy's crazy. This guy's nuts. Colonoscopy, saved my life." And how did it save your life? "Oh, well, they found a sea monster and a polyp." Okay. And? Well, how do you know that was going to spread? How do you know your body wasn't going to neutralize that in the next few months? How do you know? What are your symptoms? But people automatically, when they hear the sea monster, they're like, Oh, what?
Yeah.
And so the context, the narrative is that the medical monopoly saved my life. Preventative medicine.
Yeah. Convince them that your body is weak and frail and falling apart as you age.
Thinking that the sea monster is the same, thinking that all sea monsters are the same, is like saying all dogs are the same. Is that golden retriever going to attack you? Or should you be afraid? Or should you be more afraid of the pit bull? Or the Cane Corso, you know? You ever see a Cane Corso? Jeez Louise, those things are 200 something pounds. It's huge. But what I'm saying is, not all dogs are the same. Different temperaments. It's the same thing with the sea monster. They're not all the same. I'd be willing to bet that, you know, they could even change the names probably. I mean, they'd lose money, but they could even change the names, you know. Right now, they just got the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 thing. That's the system. So, if you have something that's creating symptoms and it's growing, okay. Now you have a big decision to make, you know?
I think most people would want to do this lifestyle change, or that's why they go to the medical monopoly. It's like you get the reversal and then, or you get treated and symptoms go away and then you go back to your normal lifestyle.
Right.
I don't think most people realize that what got you there is what's going to continue to get you there. Like it was a close friend. And I really did try to help her and get on the nutrients, but it was like, I think it was that Clark Kent effect that had, she didn't even want to do the analysis with me because she didn't want to tell me all the information. So that's when I knew it was kind of over. But over the years, she continued to get the same sea monster over and over again. And it was just hard to watch because they're just kind of taking more. She's just like losing her jaw. And like, I think the first one was breast skin sea monster. And it's just sad to watch, you know, because it's just like you don't see the pattern by now. It's like you're playing with fire, essentially. So I wish more people, and I hope more people through what we're offering can get the help they need and kind of get woken up, especially by your new book. I really do hope. I know it's making it to a lot of people's stocking stuffers this year, so that's cool. I did want to get Karen's opinion on this topic. I know she's always had something to say, and
Karen's like, it's Christmas Eve. We should be talking about gluten-free cookies.
So this is a serious topic. We definitely need to do this because a lot of people are facing this, unfortunately. And thankfully for the Red Book, because that will open many people's eyes of alternatives, because there's just so many people out there that don't know there are other options and they feel cornered into the system because they're afraid. And so it's wonderful that we can provide alternative options that may provide the body a better environment to start regenerating and doing what it needs to do, what it was designed to do. But one thing, I had a couple questions for you. I've had several calls in the last few weeks with parents and children, and their children are not doing well. Their bodies are not supported like they used to be, whether it be physically with posture or digestive issues and things like that. How can parents create an environment at home so that way they can prevent the odds of getting sea monster in their household, especially for their children, because their children are faced with so many different obstacles than when I was growing up. And probably you, Dr. Reese, too. What can they do?
Well, the first step is always get off the poor four, of course.
That's something you can do today.
Yes, get off the poor four foods, get off the poor four toxins. And, do your best. You don't have to be super paranoid about it. Just do your best. I know people that are very paranoid about it. Don't want this, don't want that, careful of this, careful of that. Just, do your best. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. You want positive thoughts. You want Santa Claus thoughts, not Michael Myers thoughts. So, yeah, you get your household to a place where it's as chemical free as possible. Because that's one of the things that's getting us is the chemicals.
Yeah.
Could be
Would you be repeating the 4 toxins? Somebody in our Zoom room was asking.
plastics, pesticides, mold, and metals. Heavy metals, to be exact. Non-plant derived. Some people got metals just right there in their teeth, just like Ryan was saying a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes it's one thing, sometimes it's a perfect storm. But the body does, fight, it does its best to neutralize it. That's why it's called antioxidants. Antioxidants. Oxidative stress. Free radical damage. If you just look at the language and it'll start making sense, and then you'll understand why you shouldn't be having olive oil. That's another video that's floating around right now where they're just beating me up with a bat.
Crazy part is I can guarantee none of them have looked up how olive oil is made. Or just the process of what it takes to get olive oil from point A to your closet. Or do an experiment. Cut an olive open, put it in a bottle for a month, and then eat it since it's so good, since it's still so beneficial. It's going to be terrible. It's
all they've got to do is look up the contamination rates of olive oil, especially if the rates are so bad that you should just not trust never trust a food company. I think that's just a good rule of thumb. Why would you ever trust a food company? They have nice labels, nice glass bottles. It looks fancy. Oh, it's from Italy. It must be good. They know they're selling the stuff to Americans. They don't care. I don't know if a lot of Americans know this, but the rest of the world doesn't like Americans very much. Oh, we're sending this product to America. If it comes from Turkey, and it says organic on it, it's probably not, because they don't care. Why would they care?
Best point of the night right there.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is a man from Canada, by the way.
When I travel around the world, I've been asked numerous times in a very serious way. They say, "You're not American, are you?" I've got to wear the little Canada flag. Honestly.
It's crazy.
Some Americans do that too. I know some Americans who wear the. I'm just saying that a lot of these other countries that are producing these things, how much coconut oil or whatever, or avocado oil is produced in America. Very little of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the countries that are sending to America, they don't care. That's why the contamination rate could be 70%, 90%. It might as well be 100%.
Yeah, and olive oil is also very much, we'll use the word sponsored by a certain demographic of people that a lot of movies and TV shows have been made about. So, I mean...
And now they say the whole avocado industry is controlled by the Mexican cartels.
Yeah.
And just
Wow.
South American cartels. The whole industry.
Yep.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Do you think they care about the contamination, right?
What'd you say, Karen?
I said, it sounds like another rabbit hole for another day.
Oh yeah, so many, so many.
This is why everyone needs to get the head to toe analysis so they
Yeah.
can find out what's going on with their body, right, Karen?
Absolutely. Oh, and you know what? We haven't mentioned this for a really long time. If somebody signs up to get an analysis and they book a call with us, we'll give you $100 off. We'll give you a coupon code. And we haven't told people that for a long time. And then they're kind of surprised when we do the calls. So there's no time like the present to get your analysis.
Yeah. Talk to us. We're here.
Yeah. We have some other questions in the Zoom room. One of our members, Felicia, was saying free radical damage causes brown spots on the skin. Will they disappear over time? Is that possible?
Yeah, we see it all the time. Age spots, they're called. They go away.
Just gotta load it up.
She was also saying she is a hairstylist and she's around chemicals. Although she uses non-fume organic products and works with conventional hairstylists, there's other ones in her salon that uses harsh products. She's also working against herself, even though she's now on the program. So it's kind of a give and a take for her. Let's see, she had a question here. I'm working against myself, even though I am now on the program. I only go 3 times a week. I avoid it as much as possible. Yeah, it's hard when you're in an environment that has toxic smells. And I mean, the same thing for people that work retail. When you go into a retail place that has all the perfumes or the lotions and potions and the candles, oh my gosh, you about pass out after you leave a place like that.
Yeah.
But what's worse, being exposed to that stuff and not being on an excellent nutrition program, or being exposed to them and being on an excellent nutrition program, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you're getting more protection no matter what.
I've got a question for you. There's somebody that I know, and they work for one of the fast food restaurants. I won't name them specifically, but they do, I don't know, have some arches. But anyway, so they work late and they're around deep fryers all day long, and they have a lot of symptoms. Oh gosh, she just has tons of symptoms like, oh, I can't think of the word right now, but I'm just at a loss for what it is. But she has all kinds of symptoms. She aches and she has pains all the time. They almost think that she's developing a certain condition. But could it be that she's around these deep fried machines all the time and smelling all these fumes and causing her body to maybe break down?
That's interesting. Maybe. What do you think, Ryan? Can she be getting the fumes?
It was MS.
Well-
They were thinking she was developing MS symptoms.
MS is basically a free radical disease. In essence, it's damaged tissue, neurotissue. But I think we should bring this back to the sea monster, the topic of the day here. And I read a lot of books about this, and they're currently blaming, mainstream world is currently blaming the increased rate of lung cancer in women on a lag time. They say that it's because women didn't start smoking until after men. So since both groups stopped smoking largely, we've seen massive decreases, especially since the 70s. There was a little bit of a peak in the 90s, but it's gone way down. But they say there's this lag time to it. And they say that since women got empowered, during the women's movement, they took up smoking at that time. And so now that lag has come along, and that's why they haven't increased in lung cancer now. Yet, this never made sense because women always smoked less than men. Always, everywhere. Even women smokers smoke less than men smokers. So the numbers never added up there. And what Dr. Wallach has always said is it's because it's not being caused by the cigarettes. Largely, it's a part of it, sure. But why are women getting more lung cancer? And why do they have this peak all of a sudden? It's because they're the ones cooking. It's because they're the ones standing in front of the frying pan. And yes, those oils, if you can smell those oils, they're getting into your system.
There it is.
Anything that you can smell is getting into your system. And taste it. And yeah, what did they stop using? They stopped using butter, they stopped using lard, and women are more likely to listen to their doctor than men. So of course they're using margarine, they're using extra virgin olive oil,
Yep.
and they're fine. And they're working in kitchens too, but men work in kitchens too, but they're the ones that are largely cooking at home and they're breathing that stuff in.
Yep. Yep. Not to mention that, like I mentioned earlier, the testing. You know, the more testing, the more diagnosing.
Yeah.
So
Women do more testing. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Well, and once they start testing or they get you afraid, then they start wanting to push for the biopsy where they puncture the tumor.
Right.
Then if it was benign or if it was not, then it's going to open up Pandora's box and it's going to go everywhere.
That's right.
And if you're talking about MS, the second you go into a doctor with any symptom that's like MS or Parkinson or Alzheimer's, you got a little tiny tremor, your memory is failing you just a little bit, you know, you're walking a little bit wobbly, just the tiniest of symptoms, 2, 3 drugs that day.
Yep.
And then what do you think causes more symptoms, right? I like to say that doctors cause dementia because the biggest part of the puzzle to me is prescription drugs. And women are more likely to listen to doctors than men.
And
And that's why women have like 3 or 4 times more MS than men.
And the thing is, like I wrote in the Red Book, these white coats are essentially forced to overdiagnose
Yeah.
because they don't want their malpractice insurance to go up. Because if somebody makes a claim, just a claim, even if they're not proven guilty, just one claim, it's like having a fender bender with your car. Your insurance is going to go up, even if it's not your fault. It's the same thing with the doctor's malpractice insurance. If you make a claim and you say, my doctor didn't test for this, this, and this, his insurance is going up. So what do? They overtest. They test for everything. You could go in with a sore throat and walk away with sea monster of the kidney. They're gonna find something. They're gonna find something because they don't understand the human body. They're just looking for stuff. And there's no solution. So it's like if you ever want to know if you should get tested, go to the end result and reverse engineer it.
So on a lighter note, since this is Christmas Eve, I think we need to talk about hope because that's one thing that we offer. We give people options to give their bodies an environment to heal itself and give them the tools with our virtual learning membership. So if you or a family member or a friend is experiencing just kind of issues, it could be something all the way to the sea monster, or it could be maybe you just don't feel right. The best place to start is an analysis with us. Give us a call, find out what the root causes are, and tune your body up in 2025. Give it a jump start, and we're here for you in a supportive environment.
Absolutely.
Call drreese.com.
Do you believe that also the sea monster could be parasites?
Oh boy.
That's a
I mean, there's people out there that think tumors are parasites. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm still on the fence about this myself, Dr. Reese. Parasites can actually look like tumors. So it's a possibility that a lot of things are actually misdiagnosed as cancer, but they're not. It's actually a parasite. But there's 2 camps that have been arguing about this for more than 50 years. You know, we see a lot of these long-lived populations, like the Vilcabamba in Ecuador or other mountainous populations, and people think they're 100% healthy, but yet they have very high rates of parasites, and they have very, very low rates of cancer. So for all these people saying that, you know, parasites are causing the sea monster, that's contradicting what we see in the populations who have the least amount of cancer, is that they have very high rates of parasites. So people have been speculating that the parasites and worms can actually be eating the tumor and eating other cell debris and stuff like that. I'm not saying parasites are good, but I mean, that's one big camp. And then the other camp is saying that both MS and sea monster and a bunch of other things, they say on autopsy, they always have parasites. And they're saying that this is causative. Like, okay, well, we find parasites in all these people with sea monster. And to me, I'm thinking, well, it's a diseased person. It's a sick body. It's an acidic body. Of course, that body is going to have parasites in it. Why wouldn't it?
Right.
We did hair analysis for years. We saw parasites in every single person except for 2 people. One of them was me. So, I mean, every single other person, whether they had symptoms of anything or not, had some kind of a parasite in them,
Yeah.
at least by our test. All that said to me was that they're unhealthy because most of those people, we take them through the steps, you know, we fix the digestion, we get them on the 90 essential nutrients and so on. They come back later and do another test. They don't have any parasites anymore.
Yeah. And parasites are really a stomach acid problem for the most part, unless you're trekking through a jungle. You know, like, it's just, I don't, yeah, I mean, if you're going through the Amazon or you're in the jungle, you're in the forest a lot, I mean, you're definitely susceptible, you know, because you can get a parasite besides eating something that might create it. Like, it can go through your nostril, it can go through your private parts, which is, yeah, makes you cringe. But I just don't think parasites are that big of a deal in a developed country.